The ocean does not forgive, and it never truly forgets. 12,500 feet below the churning surface of the North Atlantic, the world changes. Here, the weight of the water is a crushing presence, a physical force that demands total silence. We are descending into the midnight zone, a place where the sun's rays have not touched the earth for millions of years. Our lights cut through the absolute blackness, revealing the marine snow, a constant ghostly fall of organic debris that drifts like dust in an abandoned mansion. This is the final resting place of the RMS Titanic, a monument to human ambition and the cold reality of nature's power. As the massive bow of the ship emerges from the gloom, it looks less like a vessel and more like a cathedral of rust. The steel is weeping. Great, orange-brown formations known as rusticles hang from every edge, slowly consuming the iron, reclaiming the ship for the seabed. We move slowly, our thrusters kicking up clouds of fine silt that have sat undisturbed for over a century. Our destination lies within. We are moving past the jagged promenade decks, heading toward the heart of the ship, the first-class quarters. This was once the height of Edwardian luxury, a place of velvet, mahogany, and gold. Now, it is a labyrinth of jagged metal and crushing shadows. The transition from the exterior to the interior is a descent into true claustrophobia. The walls press in, the ceiling beams, weakened by decades of salt and pressure, sag dangerously low. We navigate our cameras through a breach in the hull, entering a corridor that once echoed with the sounds of laughter and the clinking of crystal. Now, the only sound is the rhythmic hiss of our own life support and the distant metallic groans of a ship that is still settling, even after 100 years. The floor is covered in a thick, carpet-like layer of sediment. Occasionally, a flash of white catches the light, a piece of spode china, a shattered wine bottle, or the brass handle of a door that will never open again. We approach the area of the grand staircase. The magnificent wood is gone, eaten away by wood-boring organisms long ago, leaving behind a terrifying empty chasm that plunges deep into the ship's belly. It is a vertical void, a throat of darkness. We hover at the edge, our lights unable to find the bottom. The silence here is heavy, thick with the weight of 3,000 tons of pressure per square inch. You can almost feel the ghosts of the past, the frantic movements of those trying to reach the higher ground that didn't exist. We turn away from the abyss and push deeper into the private suites of the elite. In these narrow passages, the decay is more intimate. We pass a doorway where the wood has rotted away, revealing the interior of a stateroom. Inside, a marble wash basin remains perfectly intact, bolted to a wall that is slowly turning to dust. A pair of leather boots sits neatly in the corner, preserved by the tannins in the leather, looking as though they were placed there only yesterday. It is these small human details that are the most haunting. They strip away the grand scale of the disaster and remind us that this was a tragedy of individuals. The movement of the water is sluggish here. Our lights reveal a wardrobe that has fallen forward, its contents spilled into the silt. We see the remains of a silk dress, now nothing more than a translucent web of threads, swaying in the slight current caused by our presence. Every movement we make must be calculated. A single wrong turn, a single bump against the ceiling, and we could be trapped in a silt-out, a cloud of dust so thick that our lights become useless, leaving us blind in the heart of a tomb. We push further into the starboard side, toward the suites once occupied by the wealthiest men and women in the world. Here, the shadows seem longer. The air, or what passes for it in this liquid world, feels stale. We enter a room that has been shielded from the worst of the currents. On the floor, partially obscured by a fallen beam, we see it. It is not the jagged edge of metal or the curve of a bottle. It is the unmistakable shape of a human ribcage, partially buried in the gray silt. Nearby, a skull rests at an unnatural angle, wedged between the legs of a rusted vanity table. The remains are clothed in the tattered, grayish remnants of what was once a fine suit. There is no sense of horror here, only a profound, overwhelming sadness. This individual has been waiting in the dark for over a century, a silent witness to the slow dissolution of the world they knew. The skeleton is entangled with the environment. A strand of pale seaweed grows from a socket, and a small, blind, deep-sea crab scuttles across the white bone of the forearm. This is the reality of the Titanic. It is not a movie set. It is a graveyard. The person here was perhaps waiting for a rescue that never came, or perhaps they had simply given up, overwhelmed by the cold and the dark. We linger for a moment, the light of our ROV casting long, dancing shadows of the remains against the rusted walls. The contrast is stark, the bright artificial light of the 21st century hitting the calcified history of the 20th. We are intruders here. This place belongs to the deep now. The silt is slowly rising, year by year, inch by inch. Eventually, these remains, and the ship itself, will be completely buried, consumed by the earth and the iron-eating bacteria. The Titanic is a vanishing act in slow motion. As we begin our retreat, backing out of the narrow cabin and into the main corridor, the sense of relief is palpable, yet the weight of what we've seen remains. We pass back through the grand staircase void, looking up toward the surface we cannot see. The journey back to the light will take hours, a slow ascent through the layers of the ocean. From the freezing blackness of the abyss back to the warmth of the sun. But as we leave, we look back one last time. The Titanic sits in her dark kingdom, a broken crown of steel. The first-class cabins, with their hidden tragedies and skeletal residents, fade back into the gloom. The marine snow continues to fall, covering the rust and the bone in a shroud of white. The echoes of the last requiem fade into the eternal silence of the sea. We are the last generation that will see her like this. Soon the ceilings will collapse, the walls will fold, and the Titanic will become nothing more than a red stain on the floor of the Atlantic. Until then, she remains the world's most lonely monument, a reminder that beneath the waves, time stands still, and the past is never truly gone. It is just waiting in the dark. The pressure outside our hull remains constant, a reminder of the fragility of our own existence. We are visitors in a realm that was never meant for us. As the lights of our vessel pull away, the darkness rushes back in to fill the space we occupied. The skeleton in the tuxedo, the leather boots, the shattered china, they all return to the peace of the deep. The Titanic is at rest, and for now, the secrets of the first class remain guarded by the crushing weight of the abyss. We carry the images with us, the only things we can take from this place. The memory of the light hitting the bone, the sight of the rust weeping like blood, and the terrifying, beautiful silence of the great ship's final rest. We rise, leaving the echoes behind, moving toward the world of the living, while the Titanic continues her long, slow descent into the heart of the earth. The requiem is over, but the story remains, carved in rust and bone, 12,000 feet down.